Good morning, everyone. Today is July 18th, 2024, and this is the meeting for the Design Review Committee. This open meeting of the Northborough Design Review Committee is being conducted in person and remotely, consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, relative to certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Northborough Design Review Committee are allowed to participate either in person or remotely. The Act allows the Northborough Design Review Committee to meet in person and remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded, so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda, unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream or recording of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. This meeting will not feature public comment. Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you? Nice to see you after all the time.
I know it's like 5 weeks. And where we left off last was that we were discussing the design review guidelines, sign guidelines, the rubric. I think today we'll start with the design review guidelines. We had been talking about, talking about adding the definition for what we thought New England was, and Lori added some more pictures in. So, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna skip out because I realized they didn't bring my Medway guidelines.
You know, did you get a copy of those? Did you?
No, I didn't make a copy. I have them online.
Do you want me to ask Michelle to make a copy?
That would be great.
Mark, are you all set?
I think then make 100 pages, but I don't.
You don't have. it?
I don't have a copy.
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask her to do that.
I, after looking at it online, I really liked it. I mean, there was a lot to it that I liked, and even the layout, where you've got your diagramming one side and writing on the other for most of it, as opposed to trying to, use Word or however this is being stacked. I was kind of hoping we're gonna start to do this with a cover too, and not just the same, right?
Well,
What
this
we're
has a
supposed to-
cover, right?
Yeah, that's the cover.
Yeah,
Remember, we talked about doing a different cover.
I thought that was for the check sheet, the rubric.
Yes,
Well,
it can be.
It can be, or
It can be,
combine the
you
two,
can- you
because
can
it
just-
makes you want to combine the two.
Oh,
Yeah, and then.
It is nice to have a radically different between visions, just so you know what the plan is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I wanted it, if we're gonna do it, I'd like to see it a little bit more polished. At least for the cover, right?
Okay.
But-
I'll open it.
That's just my,
Let me drop this.
and then, yeah, that's a good point. And then, I'm looking at these. I'm gonna go and take the Renovo picture over because it was riddled with, telephone wires in front of it,
Okay.
but.
I wonder if we should take over to that one with the Ulta.
Yes, I can redo that. I don't like this as a sample of good. So, please too
That's a
much.
monument sign. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but this is much like. If,
Oh, okay. But you know what's good for a monument sign is the one near your house, I shouldn't say. But it's near it's the
Yeah.
dentist.
yes, the dentist one,
Yeah,
I'd rather that, but I did do more of this one we talk about it.
right.
And that, this to me is I don't want it black and white, but this is what I would think to be more of a New England look.
For municipal
For
buildings.
the municipal buildings, because
That's not the name of
what, North
it. That was the Gale.
Well, it is, but what I did was make samples, and I had this from Southborough, and all I
Oh,
did was
okay.
put the N and the R in
That's what
it.
confused me.
I can't make, I mean, I could make the whole
Yeah,
thing from
no,
scratch,
no,
but
that's
the point was, it's like,
No, they say you look real.
yeah. See,
You can show Lori now, Erie.
yeah, so I started to do these over, right, and I did that for a sample, and of all the ones that I have. Well, this is out of order, but I got prices and things like that for choices, so you can make a choice of what the look is, and
So if they already have a nice sign, they're gonna have to replace them.
the only one that has one is this senior center.
the library, don't they already have a
No,
nice
they
sign?
have, I don't think they have a sign.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
They have,
so, I mean, and just in terms of art wise,
we have pictures of, yeah, so
Yeah.
the one out front here could be replaced.
yeah, this,
Yeah, this one. Yeah, those two are really
Or
good.
at 9 PM, so it matches.
yeah, right, right, it does look like a hotel.
Yeah, those two are pretty terrible.
But when you look at an overview of different options, I think this is the most, I'm like, say, kind of like that country town feel. Where these start getting into, a little different, more upscale look, and then you could put like a couple of eye hooks down below and then hang certain things, like you needed to do hours if you needed to do something special. And, the library could put entrance on Gale Street. It's just something extra so that you don't see it because it's there, and then you can take the piece on. So, and then when you get into the fancy ones, I think the school should stay like this. I think they did a great job. And that it kind of complements it, because it continues with the granites
Right,
and the whites.
That they have their little logo.
But they have their logo up here, and they have, and this swath is an additional cost. I mean, I have the prices and things, but with doing this complementing, this doesn't complement. This is like, and that's what I'd like to try to see is, we talk about branding, the town should all have the same.
okay. Could you look on my computer and see maybe I didn't press print? Okay. Thanks.
So. All right, okay.
So that's for municipal buildings.
Yeah, just for the municipal building, and the schools are a municipality, but if this, I'd rather see the schools all look alike. And then all the other buildings look alike. Because these two look better together, it's a complement. But if you were gonna stick with this and then do this and then do something else, now you're getting away from Northborough's brand.
But Algonquin should probably stay the same. They do have
Yeah,
that
I don't know what's gonna look
and it
like.
talks about the plays and the football game.
Class gift.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
And then we got all the parks and stuff have those signs, right, so.
Yeah, the parks are simpler.
Yeah.
We gotta do one for the dog park, so I'm hoping you're not gonna require it to be fancy like that, cause it's gonna blow our budget,
yeah,
which is already extremely tight.
so, but that's,
will it be the same as like 135 or it's totally?
So the idea was to have it the same as the park signs, so just a metal sign.
I don't know which, because I think 135 Park has a wood sign, doesn't it?
yes, the one that's welcome to Northborough. Reddish
Yeah,
background.
welcome to Northborough on one side.
Yes, it's one.
And isn't there one in
Yeah, I
front
think
of
that's two
135 where they have the garden around it?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Is that metal or wood?
I don't know if it's metal, but it's the red with white letters with white
Yeah.
stanchions or whatever you want.
Well, those signs cost, this probably costs in the neighborhood of $7,000 to $10,000.
Did you get prices?
I got prices,
Pricey.
I don't know that they're that much, this is what brings in more. Because these are made out of
Right.
well, these are granite, but this is just a PVC, it's not wood. So, I wasn't gonna price everything out until you decided what we liked better. Like you could, if you didn't want it just black and white, you could do, with the police could be blue. With the, blue stripe around it with black, so there'd be two colors. So that's the next question is. Do you want it black and white, or do you want it in colors, where this is blue or
I
gray?
would definitely want color. So that it stands out.
Yeah,
I mean, personally, I think I don't personally think every sign has to be the same, because the character of the buildings are very different. So, maybe give a variety of options, but maybe have the same colors.
what colors do I, because it's not gonna be any.
What are the town colors, if you remember?
Do you have any?
I don't think we have any, because like the middle school colors are different than Algonquin
Yeah,
colors.
black and gold for, well, I,
Yeah, black and
50
gold
years
for
ago,
middle
it was
school.
black and gold.
yeah.
and maroon and gold for the high school. And then kids go to Aspet, which is like blue and gold or blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow or probably.
Yeah, so there's no real.
There's no
Well,
consistency, and that's the biggest problem.
Another challenge though is the difference in colors of the various buildings too. So, you know, if you have the police station, I believe it's blue, though I know that the siding's gonna change.
Not by much.
So, don't know if the color is going to change.
Well,
But you would want something that would complement the color of the building, you wouldn't wanna do something that is, you know, isn't gonna go, isn't.
well, that's why I'm saying, if you do black and white, it's black and white. If you do this with a little bit of blue where it says police, that'll match. The building's supposed to be blue anyway.
And then red could be fire.
Red, well, green, if they're gonna go with the green doors and stuff, you could do that. Cause you got the green doors and the green accent pieces, but you keep this white and you just do that green. You wouldn't do this and then this. That's I mean, branding, as you know, it's supposed to be the same, so it's branded. Everybody having their own means, it is not branded. And every time we change a logo and we change the brand, it's in one place, so there's fiefdoms everywhere instead of a unified feeling. And that's what you have to decide, you know, if nobody wants a unified feeling, then let's Northborough be as Northborough has always been, and we have no reason to try to change.
Okay, that's good food for thought.
Okay.
I think Hudson picked red, black and white, because I was reading their articles.
Did they?
Yeah, so all their signs downtown moved away to rain and they're red, black and white. I don't know what they did for their municipal. Okay,
Now, we all also hopefully are gonna get that grant, so we're gonna go through that whole exercise. So we should hear about the grants, I think, in September. And then the whole point will be to come up with a wayfinding branding scheme. So maybe wait, until that's done.
I think you should get it. I saw emails where they're asking more people to apply for it. Report it as.
Oh, good, that's a good thing for us.
But I'm just guessing, maybe we won't, but I saw an email saying people can still apply.
I feel pretty good about it because we've already done quite a bit of work. And usually that's what they're looking for, is to see that the town is serious about moving forward, so. I feel good about it.
Will that be in front of like, will design review do the wayfaring and the downtown stuff, or is that gonna be another committee?
Well, I don't know if you recall, I had asked the MPIC to take that over because I didn't want to create a new committee. And they had already been active with the downtown project. And so if you want to look at.
But Rick Leaf we talked at the public meeting that all signs and design review is going back to the design review.
That's right, yes.
Well, that's the way I wrote the grant application, and if you recall, I submitted a support letter from the MPIC saying that they agreed to do it. So if you had
MPIC
brought it up before.
Well, Rick
then-
did. But we didn't read the grant, we didn't read the RFPs that went out.
No, but I gave you all the support letter in advance, to review and comment on.
Yeah, I didn't know it said that MPIC was gonna be the new design review for.
No, not the design review, but working on that, there'd be the focus group working with the consultant on the wayfinding program.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I thought we were talking about MPIC that they were done and now parts are going out to the planning board, would take the planning board to stop and select board as a municipal. I thought that's what that whole process going to the select board was, is that the MPIC is done and it's gonna be handed off to the groups in charge.
I haven't gotten that impression. Unless, I mean, if the MPIC is just gonna be done, then we should pretty much stop meeting or only meet once a year or whatever.
That's why I thought the whole implementation
Yeah,
table
it's
and matrix was about.
implementation, it's not creation. And that's the bigger problem that we're having, is that the selectmen are gonna we're having a meeting for what our goals and such are supposed to be. And every year goals were supposed to be set. so that you would have a roadmap, so that everybody would have a roadmap. But because we've not done that in years, and we couldn't manage to do it for the last 2 years, then we're doing it now, or that's the plan to do it now. Once that gets done, then everybody works again in a unity type of thing, not again, a fiefdom here and a fiefdom there. When we have minutes that say that selectmen meeting that design review was going to be the ones to do signage, and the signage was going to be put in their hands to do for this sort of thing.
Yeah, I
And then-
didn't attend that. I mean, I don't go to every selectman meeting. So if that was stated, I had no knowledge of it.
Yeah,
Of course, we've been working on the sign bylaw and we've been working on sign guidelines. But this is the first anybody's brought up to me about that wayfinding program, that it should be under design review. So,
Master plan is done, like
Yeah.
not done forever,
right.
but I thought the
We're meeting
whole
once
thing
a
of the
year for
matrix was to hand off the parts, that the master plan wasn't formed to keep going with all the next goals.
yeah, none of this has been discussed. I think.
Maybe the master plan, I'll have to go back and watch, it was one of the last meetings I was at. But that's okay, that's not for
Yeah,
today,
that's
we'll
not-
move on.
Yeah.
So. Then the design review guidelines. And I don't know where we wanna start, but there were pictures, Lori, you mentioned you added in the back.
So I swapped out a number of the pictures that were in the old guidelines because I thought that they weren't really necessarily that great in articulating what we're trying to say. And so I think the first picture is on page 6. Gotta actually refer my own one so I can.
Yeah, I like a lot of what they changed.
Actually, no, it's on page 7. So, oh, I see that there's an extra space in encouraged. Under pedestrian accommodations, I changed the picture to the left. Because the picture that used to be in there, I thought was really kind of barren. And
Right.
wasn't a good example of sidewalks being incorporated into landscaping. To make the space more hospitable to walk. So I thought that this was, and of course, it's a local example. And it is a more attractive example of providing that buffer.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think
Okay.
you did a good job.
It's good, is there
Yeah.
like an extra space in the garbage?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was having a lot of trouble when I was swapping out the pictures with the formatting.
Yeah.
And so of course I spent a good deal of time trying to fix some of them, and then I'm like, well, why am I doing this? I don't even know if they're gonna like the picture, so. I decided to just wait until you guys told me you were on board with the pictures and then I'll fix the formatting. So another example is on page 9. So this is a new picture. I made it bigger. Once again, I gotta fix the formatting. I made it bigger so that you could see. Because when it matched the size of the other picture. It didn't look good. It was just too busy. But that's up at the shops.
Mhm.
And I thought that that was a really good example. Actually, if I make it even bigger, you can see that there's a sidewalk there and a crosswalk. So it's another example of having landscaping incorporated into the pedestrian connection to make it more hospitable.
Yeah,
What I was thinking about doing is across the board, making the pictures bigger. So that they're especially hard to see because we have the comments in the right hand margin. But fixing the font, maybe making it bigger and just all around more user friendly. I thought would be something I would work on.
Is this only here because of making comments? Cause that's really not what the whole thing normally
Yeah.
handed out.
Well,
So
yeah.
normally the design guidelines are bigger. And oh, actually, all of the ones have comments inside.
Oh, mine doesn't,
Oh, okay, yeah,
the real one.
yeah, so
Yeah, you would just
normally,
hit edit mode, it does that.
yeah. So it's gonna be better when it's in its final version anyway.
Mhm.
But I thought that there are maybe some locations where pictures could be made better.
I agree. I mean, part of the problem is you're not working in a graphics program to put this together. So that once you start doing that, once the second picture comes in and then it incorporates into the fonts. The program isn't designed so that you can do that sort of thing. So it has to be built in a different program.
Yeah,
So Illustrator is probably the best program to do it in, and, I mean, when I've done manuals, that's what we've done, so that you can control the size of this and where they stay. There's nothing
Like
more
we
frustrating.
don't have Illustrator. But I think even if we don't use that, Word has come a long way. And just redoing it in a modern version of Word, I think would help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we said this is actually been in Publisher or something at some point, because like the headers and stuff like that are all messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you've got to start from scratch, unfortunately, that's just what's gonna happen. And once you've decided what you're gonna keep and what language you're gonna keep, in formatting it, you can create a template, that all you have to do is put the stuff in to this part of the template.
Mhm.
But you're gonna be spending hours, because I do it, when I try to do it on a different program. Kill 3 hours, what could take you a half hour.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating and it doesn't give you what you wanted at the end of the day, so.
Anything. Oh, no, did it print out 4?
Yeah. You printed 2 and then I made 2 up.
No.
Okay, well.
The sense of
You're
Medway.
supposed to have another, I mean, Dave might not want this, the next person coming in. So I don't think we should do it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brenda.
And I mean, like what they've done, I like the format here, easy to read.
Yeah.
This gives you immediately, now you know what they're talking about, and then the backup pictures are great.
Yeah.
And what you put in for backup pictures, what we agree to, what we don't agree to, are great. I mean, there's such a distinct difference than when we had them before.
Right.
So as I went through, there was only a couple that I would fix for you. One of them is the one in front of, what is the one that's stretched?
Oh, the Ulta.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that picture. I brought it in 3 different times and it got screwed up each time. So what I decided is if you like that picture, I'm gonna drive up there myself, take the picture and then send it to myself. But I just put that in.
Don't do that, I will do it for you, because I have to do Renovo too. So I'll
Okay.
get you those.
All right, yeah, if you'd be willing to do that. Okay, so maybe we can just go through the other ones that I swapped out. I still haven't made it to the library to take the picture of the addition
Oh, yeah,
versus
yeah.
the historic building, so I'll do that. And then.
Isn't that what this is though?
That.
Kind of, it doesn't have a whole edition, but it has
Yeah, it's,
Copies of that,
that is from the old,
copies.
principles of design.
I mean,
That
that
write
picture
down,
was there already,
I mean,
write down what you want. I'm
okay,
gonna go out, take it.
okay.
Like, as a matter of fact, if you wanted to use that other one, not this one, but
So
the dentist one, that didn't have any wires on it.
Yeah.
You can use that.
Okay.
Oh,
It's print out you emailed this to us.
Yeah,
But for
I gave it-
whatever reason, I could not print it,
okay.
so,
I can send it to you in a PDF,
yeah,
I
if
think-
you could do that.
and I think I sent you the logo separately, and those might have been PDFs, or they might have been, let's see if in
I
Illustrator.
think it's a JPEG,
Yeah,
but
that's a
for whatever reason, I just couldn't, I couldn't click on it to open it and I couldn't print it. So,
Speaking of new word features, there's PDFs now, it's noticed that yesterday.
It does or doesn't?
It does, I got an update notice that now opens PDFs and it converts them into documents.
Which is very nice,
Beautiful.
because the PDF was getting to be, that's how it was kind of a universal in the Mac world. You sent it as a PDF, you couldn't do anything to it, but you could see it, and then you bought a program to workable PDFs.
Yeah.
Then you could add to it and make your slideshows, but I think they're gonna, that's good to know. So I'll resend, or you know what I can also do is just bring you a thumb drive and you can stick it in the computer, but I can save it as a number of different things. JPEG was the universal photograph, but now it's getting to be,
Normally JPEG is a good way to send it,
yeah,
but I don't know why. I didn't have any trouble with the other photos you sent me,
yeah,
but just the cover photo that you sent me, I
Okay.
couldn't do anything with,
all right,
so.
okay, so.
While we're on materials page, and I noticed you've updated it and you've added things that it maybe did last time about what passed at town meeting this year, which is great. Where it says metal or fiberglass shall not be used as primary building finish material.
Yeah.
But we have the materials shall be consistent with traditional New England vernacular. What I found when I was looking at what is traditional New England, this actually says it, and everybody's like, oh, I don't understand what New England is, I don't know why. But it says there is a strong preference for authentic natural materials, specifically brick, stone, wood, shingles, and plywood. And that's what I've read, like traditional New England are natural materials, because when New England started, you had the stone, you had the wood. And so I don't know how we describe the traditional New England materials any more than it's described here. And I know people are like, well, that doesn't make sense, what's traditional New England? But when I read, I kept trying to research what traditional New England is as far as materials, and it's the natural materials.
Right,
And that's what I read was considered.
Yeah, but you can take synthetic materials and make them look natural, so,
Yep.
you know, like CertainTeed and stuff like that tries to look like shapes.
yes, but I think that by saying what this is, to mimic what it is would be fine.
Yeah.
And the next line, it says
Yeah.
any synthetic materials should loosely approximate natural materials.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have to define New England materials any more than we already have. You know, I was trying to, everything I found was really close to what this is already saying.
yeah,
Is that you want it to look natural, like I guess Southwest, they have
oh,
different materials.
stucco, yeah, absolutely,
But if
Well,
you're from New England,
That's why the blonde brick on the fire station is more Midwest than
right,
New England,
right,
where the rhinestone was more fitting.
yeah,
You're not gonna make that building look New England anyway, so.
because that's what I was trying to spend my time doing, because we've had a lot of questioning back and forth about what's New England. And-
yeah. Well,
But
and
I couldn't find anything more than what is already there.
it didn't this book touch on that a couple places where it was,
Yeah, the beginning of New England, when it talked in the beginning of Medway, it was like, what New England is. Sounds like what we want downtown, it said pedestrian scale and
right,
designed for human.
Yeah, so on page 13 of the Medway book,
Yeah.
that last paragraph right above the photo. I thought it did a nice job of explaining what is meant. So it's well proportioned as a human scaled environment. Human scaled is a fundamental component to the New England village scale character. Refers to the size, texture, and articulation of physical elements that match the size and proportions of humans. And equally important corresponds to the speed at which humans walk. Building details, pavement, texture, street trees, and street furniture are all physical elements that contribute to the human scale. And then it talks about, the materials.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I thought that was well done. And then, under building character on page 15. I thought this was super helpful because what they did here is they said, that, you know, the classic village character is one that has evolved incrementally over time. So what this is saying is that all the buildings shouldn't look alike. Because in historic New England, some buildings were built in 1700s, some in the 1800s, some in the 1900s, so the styles were different. And so then it says Medway's architectural character is varied in terms of architectural style. And then it mentions the types, which of course we have in our downtown revitalization report. There's all that description about the various historic types of architecture that we have in the downtown area.
Mhm.
So I like that.
Yeah, and that's also, I think, almost the same as that sheet that showed all the different styles, the same ones are included.
Right, and again, putting that in is helpful. Yes, I mean, you have a variety, but it's not. But what you've done in photographs is a perfect example of what we're talking about to be a village look versus a commercial look, or that straight line, straight roof flush.
Yeah.
I think that's where the new questions seem to come in, is like, well, you said about the diner, well, diners are New England. Well, diners might be New England, but they're more on our automotive thought process. When it was built, it was a diner, it was a rail car, it was something that was already something to do with transportation. So it wasn't necessarily New England, because it could have gone all the way across to California on a rail. And that's
They
the
do
train.
have Cape Cods all over the country now too, and they
But with the little
originated in
houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, and if you go to Chatham and you go to these different towns, and towns that say, no, Dunkin' Donuts is gonna look like this. And they do it. They don't go, oh, we can't do that. I mean, the one in Westbrook looks like not a drive-through. It's very, very nice. So I don't think, I mean, when we hear, oh my God, you're asking us to do too much. I don't think we're doing disservice to the community, because what Medway said in many of their paragraphs, which I was really excited about, was that working together to make a vision helps with economic development, because it makes people feel a little bit more comfortable when everything is kind of not homogeneous, but at least a theme. And what I loved about this is, here's a sentence: traditional New England building materials may include wood, brick, granite, and slate, with the materials reflecting a sense of permanence and durability. So what it does is it adds one more little piece of the pie, saying that's why New England has been the first place that was developed. And they dragged it out west, and they did what they could to make it look like the beginnings, because that was what they only had, a couple of blueprints. I don't think they had a lot of blueprints like we have today, which give a whole different look everywhere you go. But you know, the cupolas, the additional trims that we use that are now being brought out into say Arizona, that you start to see moldings in the inside of the buildings where they had no moldings. Everything was just sprayed. So we can have enjoyment out of the fact that these creations were done here, and they were additives that we looked at and went, oh, that I look up, I like that, I like that sort of a moldings and the trims and the materials, which is why all of the artificial pieces like candy board and whatever are made to look like that. They're not made to look like the spaceship yet. Now that may happen in 30 more years. Everything looks like a spaceship. Our clothes are gonna be straight lined and double handles and here and everything else. That can happen, but it's not yet in our time. And I think that these examples, what you've done for pictures is fabulous. How they put this booklet together was great. I mean, like I said, well, you have this.
And it's a good example of the Dunkin' Donuts. I should bring it side by side, or I'll email it to you guys. Like, it's on Lake Williams in Marlboro, and it's a very simple McDonald's. It's not like Westbrook Brick, which is a great, because that's a downtown and historical, they wanted a brick.
Right.
But there's even a regular McDonald's, I mean, not McDonald's, it's Dunkin' Donuts, but it has more of a like a roof, like a
Right.
ranch or a cave.
Yeah.
But it's not as, probably as expensive to do as brick, but it it still fits in better than the way our roof line is, our Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, absolutely, and even the bank at Central One, that looks like brick. It's sprayed. It's a material that's sprayed and then they just cut out the lines to make it look like stone. So it's not like you have to make it in brick. The point is to make it look like brick. And-
Yeah, we had this building, they did a fabulous job. It's in Millbury, not too far from where I live. And it used to be a pizza place. But historically, it was actually a brothel, which is interesting. And so the new owners it now is a contractor store. They had removed the front porch and they did the faux brick. And of course, it's in a mill village, so most of the commercial buildings are brick, so now it fits in with the brick. And they did exactly what you're talking about with the various wood features. So they built them up with foam material that they then carved in to look like a real historic design. And they have really nice landscaping and flowering planters out front. So it went from being a real terrible eyesore to a real attractive building. So that's an example of course, it's faux brick and it's faux woodwork.
Right.
But you wouldn't know it, even if you're touching it, because
Oh, wow.
I've done that, so. They can do incredible things with these artificial materials these days.
Yes, they have high values and.
Right, yeah, and they're made to come into the new world, so to speak. With less cost, easier application, but they don't get rid of the look that you feel comfortable.
Right,
You know, it's like wearing hair extensions, you don't know they're hair extensions. But it sure does make your hair look better, right?
yeah,
So, I mean, that's the whole point, is I'm a great one for, you don't need to let people know how you did it. Just make it look nice and everybody will be happy, they won't go back, oh, let me look at the back of your head, oh my god.
Landscaping makes a huge difference, like even up here,
Yeah.
the landscaping in front of this building right now on the side,
they
it's
did
amazing.
such a fabulous
Yeah.
job in the garden club. Really pumped it up in front of 4 West Main this year.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, those benches that you folks funded on Monday night. I was talking with Scott about putting some benches there.
Mm.
Cause you have the beautiful landscaping and you've got those cobblestone patios. And there's no place to sit.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do like real fancy curved benches
With the
that
black.
match the radius of the patio.
Oh, yeah.
And then do 2 benches, one, there's a copper beech, I believe.
Mm.
One in the shade under the copper beech on the left-hand side and another one under the tree on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So then, and they'd have no back, so people could either face the dentist or they could face the street.
Well, they did that at Town Common,
Yes,
it's no back.
yeah, we were talking about putting the picnic tables in the town common.
They have a bench there too, and the memorial, those don't have a back in their curve.
Yes, yeah, I'll have to look at those because we want to make sure that.
We don't have
safe
to
there.
sponsor benches, do we?
Yes, we do. Yeah, you can, and you know, they've done that with somebody's name and.
Yeah, I see them all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had that at the
135.
135. I also think that, you know, another couple of picnic with the umbrellas at the kiddie park would be well. Cause they're filled up and people are like, wait to get to one, and there's not enough, so 2 more over there, I think, like they have with the umbrellas is a great idea, because that's one of the only things we have for a summer draw.
Yeah.
And it brings a lot of families in, a lot of kids, so that park could probably use a little bit more attention in terms of seating and stuff. I think 135 is good. I mean, you put new benches in where there's stops where people who can't walk well can sit down in between the walks. But I think that the curved benches around the front of here, or west is a great idea. And balance, you know, to.
Yeah, I'm really into symmetry, so, and that'd be, I mean, what a wonderful place, for you to sit and just,
Yeah,
enjoy all their hard work, you know.
Right.
yeah,
Beautiful garden that they planted
Yeah.
there.
it's true, so, I mean, I think that's,
So with the common, maybe at some point we can kind of walk that and discuss where.
There are two new Adirondack chairs there. Have you seen them?
I have, yes.
The town
Are they,
council
like,
committee.
permanently there?
Yeah, we bid on them during their art. They had that art, what was it,
I can't remember the name. of it.
auction.
Yeah, it was an auction.
Where these local painters, like artists, they painted chairs and rocking chairs and our committee. Yeah, but bid on those.
Did you get that?
And I emailed Scott saying, is it okay if we put two Adirondacks in the comment, but he never replied, so then I'm like, okay, we just put
Yeah,
it.
just.
Yeah.
How should you pay?
It wasn't a lot, I think there were under 150 each, they're like,
Oh,
no, it's
They're well
150.
underpriced.
Well, it's
Oh,
130.
yeah.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that they'd go for a huge sum,
I think if they had better advertising and they had done better marketing,
yeah.
they would have. And if they had done an auction in where there was physical people to see it. Silent auctions are tough.
Yeah.
Because you don't get into that excitement of, oh, somebody just bid on, oh, but I want it, oh, and so, you know, there's much more. Participation.
Yeah.
Which that's the sad part, is there wasn't enough participation, so that these pieces went for, the artists barely made money and nobody made money on the materials.
I think it went into their, what is it, the Northborough Arts Council?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
the money is,
that's
a
what it's
fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser, not just to raise money, you know, I feel badly that it's, but they're beautiful chairs, you know, a lot of people noticed them and thought, wow, that's pretty cool. My favorite was the navy one with the daisies on it for the Adirondack chairs, cause it popped.
Yeah, yeah, I took pictures of several of them and the doors,
Yeah,
love the doors,
Yeah.
that's such a great idea.
We picked the two chairs that were the most solid, there were two chairs that I think came from the senior center and they were expensive chairs, or they were solid.
yeah,
So that's what I was told, to find out which two were the sturdiest chairs and bid on those, and they were beautiful too.
yeah.
That's,
No, and I don't think the artists even get enough accolades, you know, they should have done a little, write-up in the paper of the artist. And a little information about them and what they did, because they basically are donating their talents.
Right,
And that brings more people in to say, recognize it, see it, it's like having a docent walk around to be able to make you understand better why the artist did what he did.
right. Well, I thought that was a great idea. I think they did a nice job.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yep.
Okay, so then
You haven't think.
back to the, so do you want me, I mean, of course, I'll change the wording, so not like. Right, their narrative here, but.
Do we have to write a letter now?
This great, this one,
The market
That's
we
right,
get up with the
right.
sources, so we
Yeah,
create
they
the
got-
source.
there's some nice guidebooks that they reference back there.
Yes, I think that's great.
Okay.
Well, that's
But I-
nice.
But as you see what I'm saying, how it looks better in this kind of a format, and
I agree, I don't know how I'm gonna do that in Word, but I'll try.
well, you know, if it's something I can put some of this together. In
But you're
Illustrator.
That's a lot of work, I don't know
I
if you
know.
want me to take that on.
Well, you know, I've done it for a living, so at least if you get that format set up and it's there, and then this takes more time than this does.
Yeah.
So, and when you're panning this out, and I like the fact that they had different headings, you know, like when you went from here to, I liked all the stuff that they did, I thought that was fabulous.
We do have, so we went through a similar exercise with downtown revitalization. I did like this
yeah,
here where they were talking about various words, and that did come out of our first visioning exercise. So do you want me to do something like, I mean, I won't be able to do that in Word for
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but there are free apps you can do, what is it called, word clouds or whatever.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
word cloud,
The
yeah.
more frequently it appears, the bigger it is on the thing. It's an automatic program though.
So I can do something kind of similar, or at least include it in narrative if you want me to.
Mhm.
Did you like that part?
Well, I think it's, you know, it's current. It's current. I don't think people understand what a word, what's it called, a word cloud
Where,
really
yeah, it
is.
says on that.
I know, but you go, what's a
But
word
it's funny
cloud?
when you do them, sometimes the words that have the most common
Yeah,
are words you don't want to be.
yeah.
So then you gotta go back
Go
and
back and
reword,
alter it.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I have to say that I love New England village character. I think that in itself is what we're looking to do. Why do you come to Northborough?
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference, you know, I don't wanna get.
I don't think we're a village, yeah.
Yeah,
well-
it's saying, well, we're an agricultural village historically where Millbury is a mill town, so
Right,
they each have different looks, but.
I thought we
Well-
were like a classic New England downtown versus more of a village.
well, then.
I don't know.
I
Or
would
we-
say it's a classic, because it's
Oh, it
very
is.
sprawling.
I
Yeah.
think that's what people want,
So
so.
I don't think it's like your classic, what people typically think of when they think of a commercial village. It's more of kind of like, and it doesn't even have a traditional common. That was, you know, added later,
Yes,
so
yeah, so
Oh,
what would
we
you
used
say?
to- that's kind of where I'm like, I mean, is that really what we are? No. It's what we're want to go towards, so it's creating what currently doesn't exist.
Mm,
We probably were, and then it.
Yeah, the
It-
buildings
it
got
changed.
demolished.
Well, there wasn't a lot of planning, but even if you take the Norman Rockwell thing of the village.
Right.
Stockbridge, I mean, he moved buildings
right,
and that from different sides of the street to make it look.
right. Well, and you know, the Christmas tree shop,
Hmm.
when you walk down the Christmas tree shop in a modern way, they made it look like all these New England buildings.
Right.
Village, you know, one of the roofs comes like this, it curves. So yeah, I mean, I think what happens is that if you don't put the right vocabulary word down, people get confused. So how do you take away the confusion? Well, you show samples, right? This is what is included in that definitions. And the fact is the trees and, you know, grass and, yeah, make things that maintain, you gotta maintain, just no getting around it. That's what makes you feel more comfortable. On a raised sidewalk, granted, you're more comfortable. The walking through towns, like, I think Westboro's a great example, because you go downtown, you've got a beautiful downtown area where you've got buildings, got the Rotary, so you've got like 3 or 4 different sections of the town.
Then when they fix that road, it'd be better.
But we're not gonna get any of
Yeah,
that.
we're not gonna get any of that look, but that, when you say classic, that's what I think of.
Yeah, so we
Right.
can say classic, like you said.
Right, so that's hard, so
Well, maybe we just don't change the.
down the
titles, just
Cape,
yet.
you know, like Sandwich, I spent some time down the Cape, and Sandwich is amazing. Just the buildings and, you know, they had they had a church that was a restaurant, they had an antique home that was a restaurant. And it's still, you're eating up on the altar. I mean, it's very, very cool. Where,
Yeah, actually, if you wanna look at page 13, I changed the downtown pictures. Cause I thought the ones that were originally there, first of all, I didn't think that they were very attractive. They had some good elements, but the facades didn't necessarily blend with each other, and the signage wasn't really where we were headed.
Mm,
So I took these, the top one is from Falmouth. The bottom one I found online, I'm not exactly sure where it's from,
it almost looks like
Clinton.
Newport actually.
but
Yeah,
I
Clinton actually did some stuff.
I wanted to see what your thoughts were on these photos, cause I think that that's where folks wanna head, but I'm not sure.
You know, I might, for the bottom left, I might get a picture of Clinton, just the part that they fixed up, like where the Clinton grill is. Cause they have awnings and they have, it looks similar to that, but they've done like
You have to go there at 4 o'clock in the morning.
landscaping
Yeah, that's true.
on the streets. I don't know, they've done a new downtown revitalization.
Okay.
I mean, I personally, I love the tree lining. I think it's always been beautiful, like the top picture. This looks more like, you know, a home that was. A perfect example, what we had was just on the way to Bartlett Street on 20, and you look to the left, it used to be the ice cream flower shop. And now it's a siding store. So that they took the cape and they put pergolas out and they incorporated it to be beautiful. So it's kind of this feel with the trees. But when you're still going into a two-story look, I mean, quite frankly, you've got two people who are gonna be developing. You've got Millie who's gonna develop. She could certainly make some look of this nature because she's got that slot.
Yeah.
I don't know what the gal that's got the Bank of America's land and all that's going to do, but she's got the swath.
And I mean, she did a nice job with her building. that's
Right,
finally
expanding it.
occupied.
Yeah,
So
Those-
I would think that she would be looking to match that character.
oh, yeah, and I think that's fingers crossed is a great concept because there's only so many blocks to do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
She's got two more buildings she could add to her collection.
Well, she
Really
just bought the Brilla building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That, I love that building. I think that's super cute. I have been disappointed that there isn't a for rent sign on there.
Yeah, did they move out before she bought it or?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
because he sold it,
Yeah.
the shadow.
yeah, because it was leased before. But again, that's. Sometimes, and I've said this before, you have to kind of look at what's really gonna happen. You can have a great vision, but I'm never gonna be 6 feet tall. You know, there's some things that you have to look at and keep. Maybe that uniformity in certain areas.
Well, change happens incrementally over time and the town of Bedford, they had a huge area that they demolished multiple buildings and they put up a real beautiful, in my opinion, mixed use development, which is modern but looks traditional. And I think that's a really good example, and it's a very large area, and they did the parking in the back. I think that's a good example of how you can make huge changes if you have a developer willing to do it. So I see that there is the potential for that to happen. But of course, you know, it always takes some amount of concessions from the town to entice that to happen.
Oblique Street could be something like that. If it's
Well.
in the future.
There's a railroad tracks right next to it, Lake Street.
Well, the other side where the buildings are, it could have. I'm just thinking of building development, if you wanted a strip of buildings, you know, there's possibility in the future.
Well, there's 3 lots.
Yeah,
I mean, the end lot with the
yeah, that would.
apartments is beautiful.
Yeah, so just
So
what happens in
yes,
the
you
middle.
have 3 lots, and you could actually take those the way they are, and you could modify them a little bit and keep them as they are and
Well,
use
yes,
them.
you can restore the old button factory back to its full size, because
Right.
it's a much smaller than it used to be.
Yeah, but again. Visions are great, and we should do visions, because without them, nobody's gonna look ahead. Everyone's gonna look, the same way it is, but I do think that. We spend a lot of time on a very small area of town that. Is very difficult to do much with. When you have to look at what are we gonna do, how are we gonna develop 20? What are we gonna do with the strip malls that are, half of them are empty? You've got. Once you made it a commercial lane, you wanted all commercial, but then you started having 2 families being built on it. So we just can't seem to get. it
Yeah,
on the
there's
same
definitely a
page,
conflict of vision.
right? And it
And
happens,
of course, all of this happens too in a section of town that people purposely drive around. Yeah, okay. That's
Right.
okay.
right? So, I mean, that's. It realistically says. What are our next things? Commercial and industrial are probably the most important because they're the commercial are the ones that do this, right? Still commercial.
But these are good pictures.
They're great, I mean, I really, and I love the contrast, I love what she's done, where
Yeah.
you've got trees and all of this greenery, and then you've got this flat, white square, right?
So do you want me to add a third picture being the Clinton Grill area? Or are you wanting me to substitute that picture for one of these?
It's up to you guys. Do you guys want to just leave this one? Is it worth substituting out?
I like the top one, I think the bottom one is a further stretch than the.
Well, it's more of a, well, two-story town,
Mhm,
city,
yeah.
type of thing, you know, it has the Marlboro Clinton look. I don't
Yeah,
know.
which
I
one?
mean, if we do like a mixed use building, you might wanna copy that look on that block.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what it used to look like back when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, you do have that like Michelle Gillespie's building, and then you have the barber shop.
Yeah.
Which kind of looks like that, it's got
Yeah.
that kind of
And
character.
that used to be a one-story collar too, when it was
Oh, so it's 2 stories.
three-story, Michelle
Great.
Gillespie's.
Yeah,
it
that
was
building
three-story.
was three.
What about the North Carolina Pizza? Did that have another story
You know,
too?
they did a facade, well, it does have a second story, I mean, it's built into a house and that's just a facade, but that hasn't changed since. As long as I remember, you know, other
But it
than-
could someday. They could even build up.
Yeah.
But that
it
whole
was
block,
partially
you know, back when O'Brien's was there, and that was a modern, fairly modern, it's like late 1800s, because that block burned at one point.
Mhm.
And that had that tall on the street look,
Mhm.
and, you know, it was three businesses, I think. You know, no, the liquor store was still there, but it was the odd looking one, now it's the dominant one.
Yes, well, and then you pass Gale Street, and then you've got. Apartment building that looks like a home, you've got that beautiful little bank, you've got Millie's restaurant, you've got the library, and then you've got the. Funeral home and the carpet place, so those are all individual pieces that all go together.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the look
Yeah.
that we should probably bring as much as we can on the other side, because I know when I walk down there and I walk down the sidewalks and you have the trees at one point, I'd like to get the trees back, which is why we've been trying to put money into getting some trees planted.
another fundraiser thing you could do. You know, plant a tree, you know.
Yeah,
I think you got that program.
I had sent a letter to the selectmen, but certainly I was there until 1 AM and then they signed up, you were there till 1:30.
yeah,
So-
that's a great idea.
I'm on the agenda again.
Like
for
fast
the
forward.
12th. So maybe
The
we
next
can
day.
talk about that on the 12th, the ARPA money for the street tree program. I think that was something that Julianne wanted.
Yeah.
So then we can get that project underway.
So yeah, to your point is like where are we going, where are we going to make this vision? What's the real vision? Is this, yeah, I love that. Is that's probably a different type of a city town,
So
where
I
the
can-
top ones.
Yeah, top one is more like
Is-
that used to be, because the
Yeah.
brick, I mean, we have a few brick buildings, yeah, you use
Right.
that sparingly.
And I do think, I mean, the mobile station used to be a big hotel. And there's a picture in I think one of our offices here that show the motel and the trees
Yeah,
and it's a double,
this and everything.
yeah.
So you want me to get rid of the brick picture?
Yeah, it's a nice
Okay.
picture, but I don't think it.
And I can also show you as a modern example of a mixed use building. I can send you a picture of that Bedford block I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
So then that's kind of my concern, like I want to ensure that the design guidelines are not just showing historic buildings, also showing modern buildings that meet the guidelines, especially for the downtown.
Mhm.
So, are you going to Clinton anytime soon?
If I look through my 20,000 pictures, I've taken pictures of it before.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's closer to my house than this downtown, so.
Yeah.
Can you
Oh, you
send that
Yeah,
to
I-
me and maybe go through and see if you have that?
Yeah,
Cause even the, you know, A Boost building, for a strip mall, I love it.
You know,
I mean, it's not, it takes in that look that this has. And it's got your little, you know, your little things in the roof, and there's not stuff all over the
It
place.
has parking in front.
Well, there's
yeah,
not,
so that's why, I mean, like, I want the pictures that we use, to not confuse people, so.
well, this
It's
has,
clear that,
this has the water
Okay.
and the green and the fencing in front of it.
It's not parking.
Well, most of
Yeah,
the
no
parking in the
front. It's not
back should be downtown, and then as you get further out. It becomes more of a auto centric, like, oh,
And that's
is
okay.
Business West ever, yeah. Cause Business West is never gonna be. I mean, there is some pedestrian friendly there, but. It's really,
Yeah, it's definitely dry. I mean, that's why I wanted to put the RFB lights down by the post office and that mall. Because people do go, say they're gonna go to the pickle house to have something to eat, and then they can walk across to the craft works where they make things. I mean, you can create that feeling, but you have to create a sense of safety too.
Right.
And there's no safety down there.
Yeah, it's not in the car, that's not even saying
No.
across.
Right,
and if that Manny's parking lot isn't always filled there.
yeah.
I did see when I went to economic development in the downtown, stuff class on that, it did say if you have these huge parking lots, you can add some landscaping.
Right,
Just like,
Right, just to break it up, and again, with the heat. If you don't have any trees that are gonna give you shade,
you can feel the heat.
my car was at
Especially
106 the other day.
yeah, that whole area could be rebuilt, and I think the parking lot is just way too big anyway, I mean, it's never full. So there is a lot of potential to do something there. And I think that picture of, you know, how the shops did it,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
good
the shops-
example
Yeah,
of,
it's a
Yeah.
good example.
yeah.
And again, the shops is a good example in that they even took the hill and going up is, you know, it's landscaped as it comes up and. And and again, we go back foot, I'm not as opposed to the parking in front, so to speak, as you have those strips with some trees. You feel it's different, it's already giving you a little sense of, you know, I feel good. I don't like what people are doing now and putting rock instead of grass on the islands. We started
Have you
with
seen Walmart?
We started with Walmart, now the post office has done it.
Well, I just know seniors who walk through Walmart, like, and if they trip on one of those rocks, because they all fall into the
They
parking
fall
lot.
into the parking lot, it's again, that's great for out west. You can buy artificial grass that you don't have to mow. I looked into it when I was out there on a board for the condo association, and there's grass now that looks like grass. The only time it's weird is it's
They have enough
snowing.
money for mulch and landscaping at Walmart, like it.
Right, it's just, yeah, it's just,
Walmart.
let's cut it out, we don't really wanna be maintaining, so that's what I'm saying, even at this parking lot, they do have some islands with trees. It's just the grass is dying, and, you know, they're not keeping it up, so I do think that even the industrial should have some islands with trees. Maybe, and I don't even think we wrote that in there, but I think that would be a great help.
Okay,
So the next time I change the sign, the pictures is page 16. So I included some of the pictures that you folks had sent. I don't know if you're gonna like my my Applebee's picture because I liked that stone there, it makes it look kind of like a brook. And the flowers, I thought that matched the character of the building. So I use that as an example. And then you would send me another picture, it's actually on the next page. I just included all of them so that you can talk about it with the planters.
yeah, and I added those just because I added the line, like, if there is a district that's lacking in-ground landscaping, you can do planters.
Yeah.
The seller does do a great job with their outdoor landscaping.
Stella did a fabulous job, I'd like to give you a better picture of the bank. Cause I've taken that when there's nobody there and right like.
Okay, if you have one, I'll take it. Yeah, maybe one from the front.
Yeah, it's from the front and through the,
Oh,
so
okay.
there's landscaping.
Do you have a drone?
Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
I think Lisa knows some with a drone.
Oh,
She said it'd be kind of cool to get some drone aerial pictures.
Oh, yes, yes, well, I did, well, that's why I started to do that with these. So the dentist office is all done, I cleaned it up, I think I sent you the copy, but you couldn't open it. But it's, it took me 3 hours to take all the wires out.
I thought this is, so this I actually grabbed off of Google with the idea of going later and taking a picture. So this is that building that's over by where the ice cream was supposed to be.
Yeah,
So I really like how it's a modern building, but they still have the parking on the side. And so that's what I was trying to capture with this picture. So maybe that is a picture that we could include under the parking area.
mhm,
Um,
okay,
and then another picture I really like, same thing. I mean, I don't like this picture. Again, I grabbed it off of Google Maps. But one thing I was trying to capture is they have the walkway that goes in between the buildings. So there's the walkway from the parking lot that goes to landscaping and goes to the building. So we talk about that in the pedestrian amenities section. So I thought that something like that, so that's at Avalon. So once again, it's kind of includes the multifamily buildings as well and how to kind of do things right.
Marlboro's doing downtown alleyways. We went to Welly's and we parked out back at their parking garage on Weed Street.
Yeah.
And we were walking down to go all the way around and I noticed an alleyway and they've cut it apart to put in, granite curving sidewalk and planting.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that too.
I
Yeah,
did
that's
that in
definitely-
Millbury to connect the common to the municipal parking lot that nobody knew where it existed. And then we put an archway sign that says, on one
yeah.
side it says municipal parking. And then on the other side it says Armory Village. And it's got bollards. So it's got low bollards that go along the walkway. And then it's got plantings on the other side and it goes between two multifamily homes that are owned by the same guy. So he had requested like that faux wrought iron fencing, so we put that alongside, cost an arm and a leg unfortunately. But we were able to get his buy-in because we just have an easement over that land, he owns it. So we wanted to keep him happy, but now people are using the municipal parking lot, which they hadn't been using before, so
we've always
Have a lot
talked
of
about a
comments.
walkway from the common to the Assabet Park cut through. I know.
yeah, I
mean-
spoke to her about that,
Yeah.
So I had a sit down meeting with her and her engineer. And we were, I made the plug for that very thing. One thing she's concerned about is liability.
Mm-hmm.
So I had mentioned giving the town an easement,
Mm-hmm.
and so. They're pondering it.
Okay.
They're not ready to submit yet.
Isn't there always some type of easement in that general area? For
She-
sewer or something?
There is an easement, I think, but she owns it all, like.
Yeah, she.
so
owns that.
if you made a walkway going up in between the common. Straight up at the end where the gas station is,
Mm-hmm.
straight up the hill in between the two houses.
Mm-hmm.
What we had talked about is, so there would be a connection that would go probably halfway through where the common is. So it wouldn't actually go directly to the street, it would go directly to the common. She wanted that walkway as short as possible. And so it would go from the common and then along the border of her property and then out the driveway.
Which, what are you saying though? So the border being north and south along the east border of the park, correct?
Yes.
We're on the east border of the park. So are you going,
Kind of not really, so the common let's pretend this is the common and this is her property,
Yeah.
so it would. Come down her driveway. And then it would hug the side, gosh, it's hard to remember. And then go into the common.
Mhm.
And of course, one of the things that I was mentioning to her, especially if she's interested in doing mixed use. Then that would be an easy way for the people who live at her property to access the common.
Mhm.
So it'd be a win-win
Or
for
the
her
park.
as well. True.
Well,
Cause they probably have kids.
And then, of course, the selectmen just on Monday approved engineering for the sidewalk that would go along Assabet. They would ideally,
Is that sidewalk gonna go all the way? On
Gale?
Monroe to
Gale to
Gale?
Monroe, yes, because.
yeah, we wanted it to be continuous. Scott and I spoke quite a bit about what side of the street, because there are some issues. So I think that the entire Assabet parking lot needs to be
Mm.
redesigned.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grading issues,
Mhm.
and I suspect there's gonna need to be a retaining wall in order to make a sidewalk there. But I think that would be a great downtown revitalization
Mhm.
project for the future, you know, there'd be a future phase. But at least we could start moving with the engineering on that.
Yeah,
And I'd like it to be concrete, of course, with the granite curb. And then we could do the pedestrian lighting to kind of encourage people to use that route.
right,
Are you, when you say pedestrian, you talk about those ballards?
no,
No,
Okay.
no, what I'm talking about is, and of course, you know, as part of that phase one project. You know, I'm not gonna be making the decisions, it's gonna be the focus group. Who's gonna be, you know, choosing the design elements and whatnot. So one of the things that I would like is the decorative LED that are pedestrian scale, so it goes under the wires. So ideally, it should be on the opposite side of where the wires are, but it has to be on the side that has the sidewalk. So if the sidewalk happens to be where the wires are, then we're stuck. But it would be short enough, like I said, that they'd be under, so it'd be pedestrian scale, probably 12 feet tall. We would have the option of doing banner hardware that's built in, if that's what folks wanna do, is do banners. Or it could have built-in hardware to accommodate those hanging pots, so that's another option. If people want to have hanging pots there, so, I mean, there are different options for what we could do there. We could just have, you know, the lights with none of those things. But the character, I would anticipate it would be black. But then the committee would pick exactly what
has a
style,
focus group been picked yet?
no,
Cause there's some
No,
people who've
there's
been like
few-
really involved, and then there's some people who are kind of involved.
Yeah.
there are a couple
Some
of
people
people,
have good taste.
Right.
Right, yeah,
the
we should get
So,
new people into.
there is
Always.
one woman that I've already, so Josephine, she is managing 10 and 14 Lake Street for the property owner who lives abroad.
Josephine
And
Wren,
So yeah,
she's not gonna get involved.
she is.
She's gonna be on a focus group?
She's gonna be on the focus group. Because we're including her properties within the design scope, so she would represent the property owner, so. I also wanna get a business owner along that stretch. And then other than that, yeah, I imagine there'd be somebody from design review.
Even like Diane from like Trillium Tree, she was on the town common committee, but she's a landscape architect or
Yeah, she would be
landscape
a good
designer.
Sure,
Should be good.
She'd be a good person.
I don't see anybody from Lake Street's businesses that would be.
Yeah, I'd have to contact somebody. I could actually get on ball and do that.
Cause I know when we did the town comment, we had a ad hoc group and like Half were like, town stinks, we're not doing anything, and half were like, oh, I see potential. So you'd wanna be careful, like,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want people who are enthusiastic
Right.
about the project. Instead of, slowing things down and not happy with anything. So there would be staff, so Scott would be on it, because of course we have to make sure that everything we do is gonna work from the DPW perspective. I would, that's probably it from the staff. But yeah, like I said, I gotta get moving on that.
Well, this is what I'm thinking in terms of making an easement walk.
oh, you're at the town common?
So here's the town common, there's the gas station, there's the bank. She owns all of this. If we build an easement walk like they have at the little school at Proctor. Where you're on, here's a street, there's a house here and a house here. We own this land by taking off a certain amount of land that we could get. To go in between, so you're not even dealing with any of this. So this is a direct ride up and down. You could probably, she'd probably be okay with this part of it, because that's hers too.
Yeah,
But this isn't hers. So this individual might be willing to let some of that land go.
yeah, I'll have to look at that, I was a little
That
concerned.
was hers also.
No, she didn't buy this little house.
She bought this one.
She bought
Very
this
different LLC, okay.
So she
I
could,
have to look at the topography.
Yeah,
Because I know there's a hill there. And we have to make sure that it's ADA compliant,
Mhm.
so that might be a challenge, but
Then you got snow removal, you don't wanna stick her there in it.
it would have to be.
Seems like it would be easier to follow the road.
Well, it's always easy to follow the road, but if we can't get it, you gotta make an alternative. So this would be great if we had bought the bank
I know.
and bought all that, but we didn't do it.
Yeah.
And she's not gonna sell it to us. So you have to look at what you can work with. This eliminates any consideration of, oh, well, we're not gonna be able to talk about it because we don't wanna wait another 10 years before we do anything else.
This person had the town common, we had to put a fence there and all trees.
This girl.
Yeah, so I don't know how much they would appreciate, like maybe they would with another fence.
No, another fence would put money to buy a piece of land there. I mean, how wide does it have to be? 10 feet?
No, it's pretty, there's some minimums on that, so.
I think a good time to talk about it at first is when she has a project ready to submit.
Yeah.
That could be a negotiated condition of where she's okay with having it. And where it would work for us from an ADA standpoint. And then,
Yeah, cause I imagine she had better long-term plans for those two properties on Gale Street, cause that could be done a lot more efficiently. than
Right.
what it is.
And that's what I'm saying, she's not gonna, at the time that we get we can get an easement or we can get an agreement for a little while, but it's not gonna be anything, it's not gonna be anything permanent.
well, I think that that's the deal. She's not, just based on my preliminary conversation with her. Is she doesn't wanna do anything that's gonna interfere with her plans. So last I spoke to her, she wasn't solid on what her plans were. So she doesn't wanna bite herself in the butt. which
Yeah.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
So I think when she's further along with her plans would be the good time for us to.
It'll be nice
discuss.
to have a discussion, just so.
Yeah.
You can
She
see what
knows-
direction she's going in
Yeah.
and what the town can do for her as options that might actually enhance her project, so.
Exactly, and it can absolutely be a win-win,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah. But anyway,
Yep.
photos, are you guys
Okay,
okay with
go on.
that? Cause we're almost done. We're fine.
And are there any more?
We talked about the
The
monument
signs, yeah, you guys sent me some different photos, I'm still looking for good examples of. Screening of utility boxes, I really didn't think it'd
Oh,
be so
you know,
challenging.
Yeah.
The discouraged one, you should use from up here.
What, discourage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to make it safe.
No, I think a mobile station, it would be great if we could convince them to screen that area.
I don't know how
On
we
the corner.
can, because isn't that part, they're not supposed to have any storage. And then now they're hanging stuff on the other fence.
I don't feel like.
So no one else be talking to them.
Yeah.
So, you're gonna help me with that also sign?
Yeah, we'll do the alpha sign and the other one that shows the grass area, we'll talk about the sidewalk. If you're gonna do a monument sign, I prefer the one that's at, yeah, the oral surgeons. I've taken several pictures of that.
I thought this one was so pretty, is
Well-
it the landscaping that they had under it?
Um,
They have all those fresh flowers, so I'm like, oh.
Well, this one does,
I put in the seller sign. I thought that was nice.
yeah,
And then. Of course, I know you said to delete the projecting signs, I haven't had the heart to do that yet.
And the seller sign has changed now. It's not on their building anymore.
where is it?
It's kind of in the ground in their landscaping because they added on an outside patio. And I think they had to take down that sign.
Well, I like this sign, so
Yes, we can
I'd
still
like
give
to
it-
keep that one
right.
if we can.
We can, they still have the sign, it's just in a different location. See how the patio tables are there? They ended up putting a big glass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they can use it in the
Though
winter.
Was talking to me about that.
So these are some of the planters that they had down the Cape. Where they stacked.
No, yeah, I think those are the same planters. Those look like earth planters. The same ones that we bought
They
are
are
down.
different style.
Yeah.
So I took I mean, down the Cape, I've got amazing pictures of different stores and stuff like that,
Okay, so I think we're going along, I think now that we have a printout, we can read it. And try to tweak it, if we have any changes, we could send them to you, Lori, I think
Yeah.
we should try to. And we could try to incorporate some of the midway language in if we need it for the New England.
And maybe what I'll do is start playing around with the different templates, to see if I can, you know.
If it works using the new
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, I wanted to be done definitely before 11, and we have to finish the minutes and everything.
So one thing that I wondered, for the update. So first in the Medway, they don't have any discouraged photos. Should we just get rid of the discouraged photos and just go with more of the encouraged photos?
No, I kinda like the flat roof, like discouraged on the facade. I kinda like some of them.
I don't know, you know, it's in manufacturing, it's kind of a rule, you never put a negative image into somebody's head, so. It's always there, even though it's discouraged.
But sometimes
Like
we've
that
got,
better than the-
we've gotten designs and I'll say, well,
There's more
I
to it
just
with the
want the
trees, and
discouraged
it
one.
creates more.
Yeah.
I don't know, I like a visual, if I read it, I won't be able to tell what's discouraged.
I mean, that's before. the
Mostly when it comes
filled
to
out.
Well,
like-
say, do we have
Shooting it
this,
this
the
way.
description of what is discouraged in the section?
It gives that.
I guess when you're reading this online, you're reading this part and then you're reading this. If you're not, you don't know what section you're in. Sometimes something is shown as encouraged, even though it's got discouraged features from a different section.
Mhm.
Right, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to take out some of those pictures, I'm like. Yeah, okay, you're good here on roofs, but you're bad on something else, so.
Right,
Yeah, and somebody could say, what, it says encouraged right about this.
Right.
So,
yeah, I don't know, I guess I'll just think about it. I know for me, the pictures help me, but. But maybe if they're all encouraged, then if someone brought in a design,
we could convert them into drawings too, where we're emphasizing only the encouraged stuff that.
And the other thing that I like even on the landscaping section here. Like they have so many photos, like I really like this photo. You know, we're trying to
Add more.
encourage the rain gardens, so if we have pictures of rain gardens. It just gives us the potential to add more pictures of what we'd like to see.
You're gonna have to do a video series where you can describe these things.
Well, I really like the way this is done. And I like that, when you could put a variety.
and they don't have any discouraged.
Yeah, and what they have done though is what they have these.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
both of
instead
these are
drawings.
important.
And I think we can find out where they got those drawings from.
Yeah,
Those are,
well,
Okay.
maybe we could talk to the town of Medway and get the software that they made it on, or not the software, but the actual.
They might have hired a consultant.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
It sounds
that's
like
kind
they
of-
went out to, yeah,
Yes, the Cecil group did it.
Okay.
yeah,
Talk to the citizen.
and we don't need 96 pages, so I think ours shouldn't be as.
Yeah,
They
they got a
put
lot of extra
stuff,
stuff
I
in
mean,
there.
they've got this in, but they have things that make sense, and we.
Yeah.
The cutting, I think the glossary, the story of why you wanna do something is important. This is, the contents page is great. Alright. Alright, next.
All right, so next on the agenda I have is minutes. Did everybody have a chance to read them? I have the May 9th, 2024 minutes.
Do you have a copy of them? I just wanted to read a paragraph, I didn't like.
I printed out the June first group, but I didn't print it here.
Well, let me just see if I can.
I got that, I think I sent them the new changes I had.
Actually, I noticed this says June 14th. Maybe on the 14th or the 13th. We must have met on the 13th. So that's on the agenda.
And our next meeting will be, what was Lisa back? The next meeting will be July, August. 8th, or is that the week you're gone, Lori?
I am gone, yes,
Okay,
from the 5th through the 9th.
so is it better? What's
So
the
am I.
days? Okay. Do you guys want to meet on the 1st or the 15th? Like, is it easier? Well, the 1st is only 2 weeks away, that might not give it,
I haven't gone first.
yeah, okay. So does the 15th work?
Yes, 15 bucks.
Okay.
9:15, 9:30,
I think 9:15,
that's 9:15,
because I don't want to go too late either.
no, but
9, did you say 9?
9:15,
9.
gives you some time to come in and do.
Yeah, that's
It was very nice.
So early in the morning.
Yeah. So what, because we're almost done, right?
Yep, do you have the minutes? Did you want to read something
No,
first?
well, I just wanted to read one of the paragraphs, but it was good, I didn't have any changes to me.
Okay,
What I do think we need to do is decide to go further a little bit for this, because this is what we were discussing, we did in advance of the moving forward. Is there a size, I mean, have you decided, can you eliminate some of these that you don't wanna look at anymore? You know what I mean,
Well,
how many styles are here, there's four or
I
five
mean, I
styles.
personally don't like the black, the
Well,
dark background,
Okay,
Agree.
because I have
Yeah.
trouble reading it,
okay,
but I think all the other ones are fine, and
well, yeah, but. Now, the reason I said this is the arch versus the circular piece on the top. And in the middle, it says since whatever the town started at.
I think you could
Or
come
you'd
up
like
with
to
a
see
coding
it.
system where all parks have one and. Or
Right,
things that have
right.
seals.
The
that I
school-
guess
yeah.
have a circle.
So, yeah, so if you want the seal on it, would have the circle, if you didn't want the seal on it, you could have this oval with the since such and such a time.
so the town should have that, the municipal buildings and the parks and the schools. Well, the parks don't have
The
seals.
parks would have their own, I guess, right now, because the parks have their own, so.
I think Tom Vernon had said at one of the fire station meetings that the town seal is wrong for some reason. I
I
don't
said
know why.
something about the library, and I went and looked at the library is pretty much drawn from the old fashioned drawing.
We'd have to ask him.
Yeah.
He said the
there are
town
a
seal is
couple-
inaccurate.
Yeah,
Tom Reardon. So maybe we don't, because he didn't want to put the town seal on something because it was inaccurate.
some show the flower, so I think.
Well, I mean, you can make it accurate. If you want it, you can make it accurate.
Well, it should be. You could do it, modern version of it, maybe, you know,
You have to ask him.
rats that are, versus something you have to pixelize.
Well, I wouldn't, if you're gonna use the seal, I'd keep the seal as the seal is supposed to be. I wouldn't go and make any modern adaptation of it. I mean, this is the commercial look of what the.
Yeah, but it's
supposed to
probably
be.
done, you know, what I'm trying to say, I can't think of the word, is makes it scalable, so, it doesn't get pixelated.
Oh, pixel, is that what he's complaining
Well,
about?
I don't know, I say, but there are a couple versions, something about a tree and clouds on some,
I could reach out to them and email and ask.
All right, yeah, find out what the,
Or
This-
where you
this is
could,
the-
and
this is
do
the
you talk
picture
to them often or no?
that's,
Yeah, I mean, we do have a letterhead, you know, we do have a seal that we're supposed to use on our letterhead.
yeah,
Mhm.
So that's here, so I
Right.
have that. So he's saying the one we have on our letterhead is wrong?
I'll email them.
yeah,
and
I
ask
don't know where his complaint is, cause right now it's only the one that's on the senior center.
them. Letter. Oh, there is no.
There is
sign.
none, right,
Okay. All right, well, I'll email them and ask.
and this might be this is what the original drawing was that you see on the, everything that we have.
And that's the library, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
however.
And that's on
Yeah,
the seal.
that's from the postcards and stuff. I think.
Hmm.
Why, it's so clean.
Okay.
So. Yes for the seal, no for the seal,
I'll email them.
And I think the seal is nice to include, as long as we have the right one.
okay. And you could also, if you wanted to do, if you like that style, because of the.
I like that
so-
versus the bump up, but that's me and I'm
Yeah, I
not.
kind of do it too. This to me is, I've seen this a lot now. This seems to be a very popular thing in different towns. I was going through Hopkinton, I went, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is.
Hudson might have that too.
Yeah.
But they're waivers.
So that's why I kind of like this.
Well, some businesses do that kind of something too, I think, I just noticed it at Graves or something,
Yes, Grace, no,
Okay.
the
the funeral.
Mhm, yeah. So this changes it a little bit, that 1852, whenever we became incorporated, that could have the seal, if you wanted the seal in the center. So I could do a couple of those with a seal in the center, so you could make a look at that way.
We should
I
stand
think
with that.
that's there. The top one.
This one, yes,
Oh, which,
yeah, because that's,
what is it, 1766?
Well, that's- yeah, we're not-
Because there's two dates and one's the,
Well, we'll use the seal instead, of the date,
yeah.
yeah,
the unofficial
Just,
wrong
you know, I
seal
kinda
instead
like,
of
I
the
mean, I
date.
just like it too, because it's a little bit. And because it takes away, you know, this is it signed, so you see it here. And you've got that little piece going.
Not that I mean to interrupt, I want you guys to approve the meeting minutes from 5/9/24. Does everybody have any changes?
I make a motion.
As
to
amended,
approve the
because I probably
minutes
made
as
it amended. Is there a second?
I'll second,
Okay, everybody in favor?
I'd
Okay,
like to make a motion to approve the June 13th, 2024 meeting minutes as amended.
I'll second,
everyone in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, okay, as long as we don't forget that.
Alright, so I'm gonna make these up. This one right here. With the seal in the middle, with a couple of, I'll make it
And it
now,
has the address, because
Yeah.
the fire chief said, I think everything's, right,
it's supposed to all have an
they're all
address,
supposed to have an
yeah,
address, oh, like this doesn't.
no, that
well, I
doesn't.
need the
it
street number,
should.
not full address, right?
See. So I'll make that, I'll make both of these, and then make it so that you can hang something from below.
Looks pretty low to the ground.
So you can make these as whatever height you want either.
Right,
It's
Yeah,
not a-
and of course, we want the plantings underneath.
Right,
You're telling everybody else they gotta do
Right.
it, so.
And they
Okay.
have to be positioned in a way that doesn't block the view. I find there are some newer signs that went in. And I can't see past them to
Yeah.
get line of sight.
And they also have to be high enough.
Right.
If we get a 2 foot
Because they're-
snowstorm.
So-
It's gonna be.
So that, I mean, this is way high, I don't think the town ones have to be that high. But. This height
That looks super high.
looks, I know it really does, so what I'll do is I can measure them out from maybe using this as a sample. And then recreate it, I'll make a picture just
Maybe they should be at least 2.5 feet of snow.
underneath,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think. Maybe even 3, because if we have a winter with multiple snowstorms and short order, then.
and at 3, down you've got some space to do that. So if you had to put something up.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I can make them in blacks and I can make them in colors, so that. Like they did here.
I kind of like having I mean, personally, the letters in color, so
This-
they
this here.
stand out a little bit more.
Okay. So that's kind of the look, right?
Yeah, I think that looks nice.
Yes.
Mhm, I like that.
And the
Are we gonna have the
blue?
same color for everybody though? Oh, to match the
That's
building?
nice.
Yeah, I
That
would-
should match the building.
I would do the
Yeah.
fleece and blue, I would do the fire and green.
Because of metal.
Yeah, I don't, what do you think town offices would be?
Because it's brick,
Like a maroonish color.
Okay,
or it could be the black one.
I kind, well, I like the
Well,
black,
That's good for the town because.
All right. and then the library,
It's classics, yeah, I would put that as
black, just two black.
Picture that as like blue, so take out that blue green color that they have on the building.
Okay.
Just has
This
to be.
one.
The copper color.
But just the letter, the library
Library.
would be that color.
Okay,
It has to be dark enough to read, yeah, no light colors.
yeah, so that, well. When copper oxidizes. That's the color you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
So it's a greeny aqua color.
Yeah.
And then,
Senior center.
yeah, the
That'd be
senior
good.
center, gray.
PNC gray.
Pick up birth certificate.
Well, this
Town
this
clerk's
is gray.
office on the second floor, you wanna go all the way
Isn't that
down,
blue?
almost to the
No,
end
it's
of
gray.
the
Oh,
corridor on the right hand side.
They've moved since last
I'm
year.
okay with anything.
I'm sorry?
Have they moved since last year?
No,
Oh, okay.
town clerk.
Now which one am I going?
You wanna go up to the second floor, all the way down the corridor on the right hand side.
Okay.
It's the second to the, I think the third to last door on the right.
Okay.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock.
What time for breakfast?
You think we're all set?
I think so, I've gotten some directions. Good luck doing this.
Okay.
Okay, I move, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, ready, Taylor?
There you go.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the 15th.
All right.